In this video, we're going to talk about the limit laws and how we can combine limit with algebra. So far we learned about just a single limit. The limit is x approaches a of f of x, and figuring out what that y value is going to be. But now we're going to start to combine this with algebra and our kind of normal operations. All right, so the following properties might seem obvious, but they're kind of the basis of every limit that you have to find. All right, so the first one's called the identity limit. You don't need to remember the names or anything like that. But if I take the limit of just x by itself, I'm going to get, or if x approaches a, I'm going to get a. And this makes sense because my x values are getting close to a value. My y values are the exact same value, so it makes sense that my y values are already also getting the same thing. So if I'm putting in a limit into just x, I get out whatever that x value is. The second is the constant limit. So if c is just some constant, if I have my equation is just like y equals 3, it doesn't matter what value x is getting close to. My y value always gives me out the exact same value c, so y is always just close to that c value. All right, so those are the two basic limits. All right, now we're going to start combining these with our algebraic properties. You don't remember these names or anything. I just put them there so you can kind of write them in your notes. But the important thing is just know how do these limits interact with our normal operations. All right, so I'm going to go pretty quickly because I can talk about these faster than write them. But again, pause the video, write them down, and listen to me talk about them. So we have these two limits that we know, that f and g get close to L and M. So if I want to find the limit of adding f and g together, I can separate this limit, kind of almost distribute it in a way. That's not really what you're doing, but that's what's happening. Separate it into two separate limits, and then we can evaluate each of these based on L and M and add them together. So we can separate one complicated limit into smaller limits if there's addition and subtraction. All right, another one, this is really useful throughout all of calculus, is recognizing constant multiples. So there's just a number, like if you think about x, 2x. This is just x times a constant of 2. And whenever we have this constant just kind of in front of something, we can just pull it out in front of the limit. All right, and then we can evaluate the limit that we already know, which is this extra multiple in front of it. And then product, just like we did with addition and subtraction, all right, if you multiply inside the limit, we can separate it out into two separate limits, make the limit part easier, and then do multiplication. So limits can kind of move around pretty nicely. All right, we have three more. Again, pause the video if you need to catch up writing. All right, say we have division. Again, we can kind of split up the limit into two different pieces and do the division afterwards. The only extra thing we have to make sure for this one is because there's division involved, we got to make sure we don't divide by 0. It's a big complicated thing we'll talk about later, but if it's not 0, we just divide. All right, powers, so if we find the limit of our thing raised to an nth power, this limit can come inside, and then we can do the power after the limit, so it works nice with powers. And also works well with roots, so we can find the nth root limit. We can just move the limit to the inside and find the nth root after we find the limit. So this limit can kind of jump around, split up, go inside and outside of stuff. And you have your kind of basic algebra operations the limit behaves nicely with. All right, so let's say we wanted to evaluate the limit of this function. And this isn't something we have to do for very long, but it's something you have to kind of understand and use before you can do the simpler stuff. All right, so I can't find this limit directly. Really only the two limits I can find directly are x and c. So I need to break this limit down until I just have single x's or single constants. So the first thing I see in this big expression is this big division bar in the middle. And we saw that we can break this up into a limit on the top and a limit on the bottom. All right, one thing students tend to do is not write the limit as much as they should. All right, so every single time you're breaking the limit up, all right, make sure you're writing out that limit in front of the thing. So now we don't have to worry about division being inside of a limit. We're kind of slowly getting to the point where the thing in the limit is as simple as possible. The next thing I see in each of these limits is we have a plus or a minus sign. And we saw that we can break up these into multiple limits. So on the top, it's going to break up into two limits. We have the x squared part. And then we're going to add the 2x part. And on the bottom, we're going to have the x part. And we're going to subtract the 7 part. Again, it gets a little tedious writing this. We're not going to do this for very long, but you should write this limit every single time. The limit is x approaches 1 because that's the one that we started with. On the bottom, we're kind of done because we've gotten a single x and we've gotten a single constant. We still have a bit of work to do on the top. All right, on the top, the first limit, we had this exponent of 2. But we saw with exponents, I can do the limit first and then do the exponent. And the second limit on the top, we have this extra 2. This is a constant multiple. This 2 is just hanging out in front of the x, just being multiplied by the x, so that 2 can jump in front of that limit. And now we're finally done because all of our limits, the actual limit part, is just an x or just a 7. So all of these we can evaluate using our very basic limits. The limit as x approaches 1 of x is 1, and that's squared, plus 2 times that limit is 1. Over the bottom, that limit is 1. And a constant limit is just the number 7. So we finally broke it down to its smallest pieces. We can evaluate all those limits because they're just simple limits. And now we just use order of operations. 1 plus 2 over negative 6. And we get negative 1/2 as our final answer. So really kind of tedious, but it's important for you to know these rules. All right, it's not like you'll have to do this type of example for very long, but the next type of examples are something you'll have to keep doing. All right, for instance, like this, all right, you have this kind of random information given to you. This is kind of the thing that happens on the AP test a lot. They give you this information, and they want you to evaluate something else from that information. All right, but I can't do this whole limit all at once. But what I can do is break it down into smaller limits and then use what's given to me up here. So I can break this up into 2 limits with that minus sign. All right, so whenever you see a minus or a plus sign in a limit, you can break it up into smaller ones. And then we have these numbers that are just hanging out in front of the thing we care about, and those are constant multiples, so I can bring those to the front. So that 3 is going to be in front of this limit now. And this 2 is going to be in front of that limit. Now the limit parts, they're not fully simple because they're still, you have the g of x and h of x. This should have a g of x here, and this should have an h of x here. But those are the limits were given to us at the start. So this 3 is going to stay, but the limit as x approaches 2 of g of x is 7. So that is exactly 7. That's what's told to us up there. All right, this 2 is just going to stay. The limit as x approaches 2 of h of x is negative 4. So we're going to simplify down these limits until we can use the information that's given to us. And this is going to be 21 plus 8 is 29. All right, so it's a very AP type of question where they give you some type of information and you have to use your rules to break it down until you have to, or until you're able to use that information. All right, for example 3, I want to figure out this limit. So let's do the limit laws first, and then we'll focus on what the values are. So our limit laws, if we want to do this limit example, very similar to the first example we did, we can break it up over the division. And remember to write the limit each time. So we're breaking this limit up into the top and the bottom. And when we get down to this, just a single thing inside of our limit. Right now we have the extra 3 on the top, so we'll rewrite it with that 3 out in front because it's a constant multiple. And then this is another type of AP type question where they're combining multiple different things. So you have to know your limit laws to simplify your expression like that. And now I know I need to know how to evaluate a limit for multiple things. All right, so f of x is given by the graph, even though it says h in the picture, it's f. So if I evaluate the limit of f of x, we know how to evaluate from a graph. We go to 2, and we see our y values are close to negative 1. So the bottom of this function, or expression, is negative 1. And then our table, g is given by the table, and we can see as our x values get close to 2, our y values are getting close to 3. So that is going to be 3, and our final answer is going to be negative 9. 9 over negative 1 is negative 9. All right, so this is a very AP type question of combining a bunch of different stuff together, using your limit laws to simplify your expression into simple limits, and then being able to evaluate your limits from other stuff. All right, so just a quick summary. You can break down complicated limits into more manageable parts. All right, when you're writing those steps out, don't forget to write the limit every single time. That's the most common mistake that's made. And then only plug in the value for the limit once it's been fully simplified. All right, once it's fully simplified and you've got it down to just the limit of x, the limit of c, the limit of like f of x. All right, the simplest thing you can have inside a limit, that's when you start trying to evaluate it. All right, so that's how you find a limit using the limit laws.